Let's talk about digital citizenship. The first thing you might ask is, what is it exactly? At its core, digital citizenship lays a comprehensive groundwork to teach digital users and online communities to act responsibly in everything from communication to access to economics. The emphasis on a comprehensive groundwork is important because there is such a wide variety of considerations that fall under the umbrella of citizenship in an online context. In his book, Digital Citizenship in Schools, Mike Ribble breaks down the concept into 9 essential elements. We can use these as a starting point to define what digital citizenship means and how it is applicable for us as museum professionals. Digital access. This examines who is able to access digital resources and how effectively and consistently they can utilize them. This begins to address the issue of the digital divide. The museum field began discussing this problem when so many programs and resources shifted online in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. To stay relevant and accessible, museums had to cultivate a bigger online presence, and we applauded ourselves for doing so. But as Dr. Bailey and Dr. Sautner point out, it is easy in processes like these to get stuck in the cycle of creation, neglecting to reassess the practices and tools you use. This can undermine the impact of your programming in the long run, especially when it comes to questions of access. Museums need to be mindful of the audiences this type of programming leaves behind. Digital commerce refers to economic activities that take place online. Consider just how many purchases and goods are now exchanged through websites and even social media platforms. Digital communication looks at the variety of ways individuals can connect and communicate online. Digital literacy refers to how well-versed individuals are at understanding and using digital resources. And digital etiquette considers the social standards for interacting online. Digital law. This addresses specific legislation that applies to online contexts and how it is regulated globally. One of the hot topics under digital law is the issue of net neutrality, which means there is open access online without certain content providers having preference over others. Under this concept, all legal information and services should be equally accessible. While equal access seems reasonable, those against net neutrality argue that internet providers, as gateways to the online world, should, quote, be able to distribute bandwidth differently depending on the service with different tiers of access. So why does this matter? Our institution has a considerable amount of resources digitized. It is important that our content is accessible to our online visitors. Likewise, as our educators prepare for and conduct programs on site, they should be able to freely access appropriate sources for both research and presentation. Digital rights and responsibilities. This includes the rights of all digital users and the obligation to responsibly manage them. While this could also be discussed under digital law, we'll talk about copyright under this category. According to the United States Copyright Office's Copyright Basics, the introductory definition reads as follows. Copyright is a form of protection provided by the laws of the United States to the authors of original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and certain other intellectual works. Essentially, copyright guarantees ownership to authors and creators and protects their work from being stolen or misused. As museum professionals, we know how important copyright and attribution are to our field, particularly as it relates to art museums and other visual media. We have to strike a balance between protecting the collections held by the museum, considering the rights of the artists, and making our works accessible for educating the public. It is important to ensure we regularly review and update our policies for rights and reproductions to make sure they continue to balance these elements. Digital health and wellness. This promotes safe and healthy online habits. There are many negative consequences to life online. One of the most significant is the advent of cyberbullying, defined as being cruel to others by sending or posting harmful material or engaging in other forms of social aggression using the internet or other digital technologies. Today, it is far too easy for both bullies and bystanders to hide behind screens. Those who come to the defense of victims or shut down bullying behavior are most likely those, quote, with high levels of empathy. As an institution, teaching and encouraging empathy and understanding is one of our most important missions. We also have responsibility at an individual level. All people, not just students or children, should learn to approach others with compassion so we can create safe online and physical communities and culture. Digital security. How protected is your identity? How about your credit card information? Are you aware and do you monitor your privacy settings? Whether we're making a purchase, conducting a Google search, or posting on social media, we leave behind a digital footprint anytime we interact online. Digital footprints can be copied, shared, broadcast, and are permanent. As internet users, it is important for us to be mindful of our digital footprint and how it affects the information we consume and the way we present ourselves to others, especially as the very public representatives of our institution. So how can we increase the awareness and conversation about digital citizenship within the museum field? The short answer: incorporate digital citizenship into professional development. According to the International Society for Technology and Education, 62% of working Americans use the internet as a daily part of their job, and 96% of Americans use technology on the job. For professional staff at the Stark Museum of Art and the W.H. Stark House, those stats are 100% in each category. As such, I recommend that instruction in digital citizenship becomes a professional development requirement. Because the concept continues to evolve and change, it cannot be a one-and-done style conversation. Occasionally incorporating it into our monthly staff meetings with updates is a good starting point for being more mindful of how we, as a group and institution, can be our best selves online.